Okay, okay, so I have started the recording. Are you okay? Okay, so we said we're going to be talking about the part of speech. However, for me as a teacher, sometimes I try to put one or two spices in my class. If you look towards the left, the down part of my screen there, where you have the part of speech, you see paying attention in class makes the brain grow better. So I want to beg us all to pay attention while we take a quick gradual step into an understanding of what the part of speech entails. However, for today, we're looking not just at that, these are the things that we want to achieve for this class. At the end of this lesson, we should be able to define the different parts of speech, and at search, we should be able to give an example for each of them as used in sentences. So going on with that, what is part of speech? As defined there, it's a category to which a word is assigned in accordance with its syntactic function. Now, the word syntactic there means sentence function. So anytime you hear the word syntactic, we are talking about the sentence. So what we are saying is that the part of speech is a category to which a word is assigned in accordance to how it is used in a sentence. So basically, anytime you want to talk or you want to say anything, you either speak your sentences or you write it. So each word that you use in that sentence belongs to a category. Each word as exemplified or used in your sentence has a part that it is connected to. And another definition say a traditional class of words distinguished according to the kind of idea denoted and the function performed in a sentence. Just as I said earlier, I said anytime you hear the word syntactic, it means what? Sentence. So another definition as we have here is that any word you use denotes an idea in the sentence you're using it. So whatever you say, you should know that anytime you make a statement, whatever you say is divided into parts. You have brought several ideas together to pass a message across. That was why I hinted that at the beginning of this class that the major thing about the English language is that we want to use it to communicate. And as such, as we are trying to communicate, two things are required of us: our communicative competence and our communicative performance. Communicative competence talks about how well you are grounded in the language. Now, basically, we are using the English language. So, we want to know how well you are grounded in the English language, how unconsciously you can make sentences as much as you can. And performance talks about you being able to apply the rules when the need arises. You being able to put one or two together based on the rules stated for the English language. So quickly, I will just try to move one slide to, so I will be moving this to this side. Okay, thank you. Now, these are the parts of speech highlighted. The first one is the determiner, the second one is the noun, the third one is the pronoun, the fourth one is the adjective, we have the verb as the fifth one, we have the adverb as the sixth, we have the preposition as the seventh, we have the conjunction as the eighth, and we have the interjection as the ninth. Well, for some school of thoughts, they will not add the determiner, but basically because this is on a general motive, we may want to say that we need to add the determiner with it because hardly do we write any sentence in the English language without adding a determiner to it. So moving on from there, now let's move on. Now, we said earlier, having highlighted the part of speech, let us begin with the explanation of each of them as we have listed or highlighted earlier. Now, the first one we'll be looking at is a determiner. They are words like the, and, this, some, either, my, or whose. Now, all these determinants have the same grammatical similarities. That is, they are used almost as similar syntactic placement or functions. They are used at the beginning of a noun, so to say, or a noun phrase, or you use them before an adjective. Now, basically, when you are using them before an adjective, you realize that what you have there will be a noun phrase. That was why we have it as a beginning of what? Of a noun phrase. You could have some school of thought will tell you that once you attach anything to a noun, it becomes a noun phrase. So for instance, if I say the man is going home, the man is going home. Man there is a noun, it belongs to a particular part of speech. There is the determiner telling us about the man. We can have a man is going home. We can say this man is going home. We can say some men are going home. So these things, as we have used them in my examples, are what we call determinants. So whenever you're trying to make up a sentence or you're trying to write a sentence, you realize that hardly can you write a sentence without using your determiner. Moving forward, the second one is the noun. I believe the noun is the most used part of speech in the world. I may want to say that after the preposition, which are the largest item in its collection, the noun is another thing that is almost used. And why we can say that is because from its definition, a noun is a word used to identify any class of people, places, or things, either common or to name a particular one of these, as we have said. So a proper noun. Now, what I mean is this. Basically, I simply put, when I'm talking to my class, I say anything that has a name is a noun. I remember when I was in primary school, my teacher helped me.
Hello.
Yes, sir?
Sorry to interrupt. As the host now, there are some students waiting at the waiting list. They are at the waiting list. Please try to let them in.
Okay.
And you need to like be conscious of that so that you can let students in as they come in.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, for those that are just joining us, welcome to this class. Basically, we were talking about the part of speech, and then we discussed the part of speech as this. Sorry, I still have more trying to join. Hello, sir. Can you please just be the host so that it won't disturb the class, please? So that I don't know what I can do about that, sir.
If I'm the host, I'm not using my laptop now. I won't be able to record it. That is the issue.
Okay.
So that is why I actually made you the host. I'm usually the host. Sorry about that. We'll take care of that next time.
Okay, sir. Those joining, they keep coming in numbers. Okay, for those of you that are just joining us, I would like that we go back a bit so that you can join the class from where we started. So we were talking about the part of speech. And we said the part of speech is a category to which a word is assigned in accordance with its syntactic function. Now, anytime you hear about the word syntactic, you're talking about the sentence. So you're saying that a word as used in a sentence as a placement in it. That is, anytime you make a statement, each word used for that sentence has a particular part that a name is given to it. Okay, so while we are trying to add some other ones, so basically we were talking about the part of speech highlighted. We said we have number one as the determiner, we have the second one as the noun, we have the third one as the pronoun, the fourth one as the adjective, the fifth one as the verb, we have the adverb as the sixth, preposition comes seventh, conjunction comes eighth, and interjection comes as the ninth one. Okay, so we'll move on quickly from there, and then we said the first one we discussed before you joined was the determiner, and then we'll say these are words that have some similar things with it. They are used at the beginning of a noun phrase. Basically, when you're going to start a sentence, Basically, either seen or not seen, you will always start a sentence with a noun. There are some sentences that you may just give out without using a noun there, but by the time we try the analysis in depth, we realize that there is always someone standing as the actor which will pass out the information or give out the sentence. So moving on from there quickly onto noun. Now I said earlier, I said the noun is the most used class word, or let's say the most used part of speech anytime we are making sentence. Now basically, I was making a reference to while I was in primary 2, and I said my English teacher then taught me by saying that a noun is the name of persons, animals, places, or things. And that is what you have exemplified in my definition here. If you talk about persons, you can have the name of a man, the name of a woman, the name of a teacher. You can have an example of a name, John, Mary. Or basically, you can just use some of these things as a common thing: man, woman, teacher, and things like that. You could have the name of places. You could talk about your home, you could talk about your office, you could talk about your town, and all other things. You can also call a country part of a place. You can also call a country. Now you can call that a noun too. And we're talking about things. You can talk about a table, you can talk about car, you can talk about banana, you can talk about money, you can talk about music, you can talk about love, you can talk about dog and monkey. So this basically is the definition for a noun. So anytime, anything. Oh, hello. I will please beg that we mute ourselves so that we don't distract with background noise, please. Rebecca, I think the noise is coming from you. Can you please mute so that the noise from the background will not disturb us? Thank you very much. So that's that with now. So anytime you find anything that has a name, put it in your mind and be able to assert that that is a noun. Mr. Emeka, you're still raising your hand. You can please put your hand down now so that we'll be confused with that. So when we're talking about now, we have different types of nouns. We have different types of nouns. The first one we'll be discussing is the common nouns. The common nouns. These are nouns that refer to undefined or generic people, places, or things. That is, we are talking about things that have general names. General names like house, it could be cat, it could be girl, it could be food, it could be country. So there are so many things that have general names. These names are attached to them that no other thing answers that name except those names that have been given to them. So a house is a house. Any other thing that does not look like a house will not be called a house. A cat is a cat. Whatever species you call it, whatever species you've seen, a cat is a cat. There are some things, there are some features you see in cats that will make you call a cat a cat. When you see a girl, there are some things you see, there are some features you see that will make you know that, okay, this is a girl. When you look at a foot, now there are some things you see, there are some characteristics around it that you can find with these things around this thing is a foot. And if you want to talk about country, well, if you just want to talk about countries on a general note, it is a common noun. The second one that we can call as a way, sometimes some school of thought will believe that it's the opposite to common noun, is the proper noun. Now, the proper noun distinguishes or gives a specific name to a person, a place, or thing. Now, what we are saying is that anytime you talk about proper nouns, they give specific like how do I put it? Like, okay, they give a specific name. They try to make sure that once this thing is attached to this, no other thing can answer to that except that thing given. Now, for instance, for example, we have a country, Spain. Checking, it is only one Spain that we have in the world. only one country called Spain that we have in the world. If we check it, it is only one Atlantic Ocean that we have in the world. We don't have two, we don't have three. Now, we may have it flowing from one end to the other, but it is still the same Atlantic Ocean. Now, the beautiful thing about the proper nouns is that anytime you see them, there is one special thing about them. Their first letters are always capitalized. Unlike in the common nouns, where you can start with any letter. If you're starting a common noun at the beginning of your sentence, you start with a capital letter. But if you're writing a common noun in between words in a sentence, you use a small letter. But for proper nouns, anytime you are using them, either at the beginning of the sentence, in the middle of the sentence, or at the end of the sentence, they must always begin with a capital letter. So if you're writing your name 1 million times, it means you must begin with a capital letter. If you're writing Lagos, for example, which is a proper noun because it's a specific name of a place. So if you're writing Lagos, for an example, 1 million times in your writing, you write it what? You begin with what? A capital letter. Thirdly, we are looking at concrete nouns. We said these are nouns that can be perceived through the 5 senses. If you can see, touch, taste, smell something, we'll say that that thing is concrete. If you can feel something with your hands, if you can see with your eyes, if you can taste it with your tongue, or you can perceive either the aroma or the odor with your nose, it means those things that you have seen are what? They are concrete. So we can have the table, we can have apple, we can have rabbit, we can add air, and some other examples as concrete noun. Moving on from there, we move quickly because of our time, we go on to abstract noun. Now, the abstract noun will be taken as the opposites of the concrete noun. Abstract nouns are intangible ideas. We call them intangible because they only apply to emotions. For instance, love cannot be touched, cannot be carried from one place to another. Though metaphorically, some people can say, I smell love. Now, they are only referring to love metaphorically there. It does not mean that they can perceive it through their nose. No. What we are saying is that these are nouns that you can only feel them as emotions. Emotions, they come by inspirations, some come by imaginations. So these are abstract nouns. But remember, I said at the beginning of this class that anything that has a name is a noun. Anything that has a name is a noun. So in as much as we are able to give that concept a name, it's a noun. That is why things that are attached to our emotions or things that we imagine, like love, hatred, happiness, creativity, democracy, and other things like that, are examples of nouns that are intangible, otherwise known as abstract noun. There are several other examples that we can give, but because of our time, we have to rush through them. Another one I want us to look at is the collective noun or the collective nouns. Now, basically, we realize that sometimes we need to talk about nouns in groups. So these collective nouns function as a group. They function as a group, putting similar nouns or one type of noun in a group. They refer to them as one unit because they carry out the same action at the same time. Now, we have an example of a crowd. We can have a crowd of persons. We can have a flock of sheep, and so on. We can have a committee of persons. We can have a sum of money. Now, there was someone once asked me a question one day, and then he said, "Why do we have crowd and why do we have people?" And then I tried to put a clear difference there. That it is wrong for you to say a group of people. It is wrong for you to say a group of people because people, in its sense, it means a group of persons. So it would have been better that we say a people of persons or a crowd of persons. If you say a group of people, what you are doing there is like you are trying to repeat, or what we call tautology in English language. Group and people, they are same. So what you can say is a people of persons or a group of persons. A group of persons can be called a crowd or people. So that is that with collective nouns. Another one I want us to look at is the countable nouns. Now, generally, nouns, there are some that can be counted and there are some that cannot be counted. Now, so what we are saying is that these are nouns that we can put by numbers. We can identify specific numbers to them. We can pick them and say, okay, this number one, this number two, of same category, or maybe putting them together as a group. So we can have table, we can have apple, we can have rabbit, we can have air, and we can have all these as singular. So the plural of table will be tables. The plural of apple will be apples. The plural of rabbit will be rabbits. We have the plural of air will be airs. If we have house, the plural of house will be houses. So continuously like that. So anything that you know that you can quantify specifically, adding the plural marker s to them, or es for irregulars when you can use the en, you see that these ones are called your countable nouns. Proceeding from there, we have another one that we call the uncountable noun. This will be the last one we'll be discussing on the part of noun. These are also known as mass noun. It means they cannot be counted. For instance, an abstract noun, happiness, cannot be counted. So it will be wrong for you to say, I have a happiness today. No. Or it will be wrong for you to say, I have 3 happinesses. Now, because these things cannot be quantified, they cannot be quantified singularly. Now, it will not make good of me saying that I want to maybe pick a bag of salt and I want to count how many I have in there. It's impossible. So that is an example of an uncountable noun. However, uncountable nouns can be quantified using quantifiers. Uncountable nouns can be quantified using quantifiers. So for me now, if I want to quantify salt, I may bring in a quantifier using another type of noun as my quantifier. I could say a spoonful of salt. I can say a cup of salt. I can say a handful of salt. Now, you realize that there, my salt is not pluralized. I can say 3 spoonfuls of salt. Now, the noun that I'm using as the quantifier can be pluralized, but that uncountable noun cannot be pluralized. So I cannot say 3 spoonfuls of salt. No, it will not be taken grammatically. So the quantifier that I'm using, Abida, Hamza, I may want you to please mute yourself so that the noise from the background will not disturb. Thank you very much. So seafood is another one. Luggage. Yeah, over the time, sometimes some people would have been saying, can you please pack your luggages? No. Luggage is a luggage. Luggage is a luggage, no matter the number. Luggage is a luggage, no matter the number. And then you don't say, can you please give me some advices? No. You can only say, can you please give me some advice on this thing? So that is that with noun. So I believe you've been able to get 1 or 2 things about the noun. Because of our time, quickly, we'll move on from noun and then we'll move on to the next one, which is the pronoun. The pronoun, any small of a set of words, such as I, she, he, and other examples as listed in a language that are used as substitutes for nouns. Now, what this is saying is that there are sometimes you use a particular noun in your writing, and if the need arises that you want to use the same noun continuously, you may need to use a reference. So this reference or something that you can use to replace your nouns are what we will call the pronoun. And I want you to know that they carry the same grammatical worth as your noun. Sometimes they work on the gender of the noun you have used. If, for instance, you want to talk about yourself, instead of calling your name repeatedly, you can use I as a replacement for your name. If you're talking about your female friend, you can use she. If you're talking about a male colleague, you can use he. And if you want to talk about maybe someone, the person is with you, you can use you. If you want to talk about something that the gender is not identified, you can use it. All of these that we have mentioned, just as you can have your noun in singular and plural, the pronoun has also gotten the singular and the plural. I is singular, she, he, or it are all singular. You can be used as singular and plural. What I mean by that is this: you can use you referring to one person, and you can use you referring to many persons. And you can have we if you are counting yourself as part of the group, or you use they when you're talking about the column of the he, she, or it. So basically, pronouns are used as substitutes for nouns or used as a reference for nouns in any context of use. There are some other types of pronouns. Some types of pronouns. Basically, we have the relative pronoun. Yes, these are pronouns that are used to relate to one part of sentence to another. So they use this to relate different parts of sentences. Sorry, the different parts of a sentence together to form a whole. We have the example as that, which, where, when, what, why, what, whom, and whose. So you can say, I know that this is what you are doing. Now, the that used there is a pronoun. There are sometimes your pronoun are identified with your adjectival phrases or your adjectival clauses. So, but if you pick the that in isolation, it is a pronoun. Another one we have is the possessive pronoun. Now, these are used to show possessions. As much as we have the possessive pronoun, we can also have possessive nouns. For instance, my name is Paul, or my name is Oluwadamilala. I can say Oluwadamilala's pen. Oluwadamilala's pen. So as much as I can say Oluwadamilala's pen, I can say the pen is mine. That is to show possession using a pronoun. To show possession using a pronoun. So I can say the pen is mine. I can say the pen is yours. I can say the pen is his. I can say the pen is hers. I can say the pen is theirs. And I can say it is its pen. So we can use this possessive noun to show possession in reference to our nouns. Don't forget, a pronoun is used to replace a noun or used as a reference to a noun used in context. The third one quickly we want to look at is the reflexive pronoun. The reflexive pronoun are nouns that are used to refer to the subject. Basically, when we write a sentence, we will always have a subject, a verb, and sometimes an object. But hardly will you have a sentence without a subject, because the subject is also called the actor, and your verb is called the action. By the time you define a verb, you say a verb is an action word. So the action taken in a sentence or the action carried out by the subject is your verb. So the subject is the actor. Now, so anytime you write a sentence and you realize that there is a particular word that is trying to refer to the subject used at the beginning of the sentence, that particular pronoun is called a reflexive pronoun. You can have myself. I can say, I did the assignment myself. The myself there is placing a reference on the I used at the beginning of the sentence. You can say, you can please do it yourself. The yourself used in that sentence is placing a reference on the you have used at the beginning of the sentence. You can say, she did the assignment herself. The herself, as used there, is placing a reference on she that you used at the beginning of the sentence. We can have himself, we can have oneself, we can have itself, we can have ourselves, we can have themselves, and we can have yourselves. It depends, either you are using the singular pronoun or you are using the plural pronoun. Because of our time, I want to stop here, and then in other times we'll continue from here. So I want to know, is there anybody with a question on everything we have discussed so far? Anybody with a question? Okay, if you don't have a question, I may want to give us just a classwork on noun to make sure that we understood all that I have said. So let's look at this question. Select the answer choice that identifies the noun in the sentence. Select the answer choice that identifies the noun in the sentence. The statement is, it will take all of your energy and will be able to work again. It will take all of your energy and will take all of your energy and will to be able to work again. So we have 4 options. Out of these 4 options, one of them is a noun. We have take, we have all, we have your, and energy. So if you know the answer, can you please raise your hand in the chat box so that I can call your name? Anybody? Akanji Rebecca, I can see you. Lawal Suliyat, I can see you. So please, I want someone to answer this question. Hello? Okay, the answer for that is energy. Energy is the noun that we have in that statement. Let me give us an opportunity of answering this one. Rebecca, are you with us? Suliyat, are you with us? Emeka, are you with us? Amza, are you with us? So I want to know if these people are part of the class. Please raise your hand in the chat box so that I can know that you have been part of the class since I started this class. Okay, Emeka are signified. Yes, I'm waiting for others to do. We have limited time. We have less than 2 minutes to conclude this class. Less than a minute now. Okay, quickly. The works of many great poets have been placed on reserve. The works of many great poets have been placed on reserve. We have option 1 as many. We have option 2 as great. We have option 3 as placed. And we have option 4 as reserve. So which of these 4 options is a noun? Which of these 4 options is a noun? If you know the answer, quickly unmute yourself and give us the answer to that. Anybody? Rebecca, you want to give us the answer?